Have you ever wondered why you can spend hours perfectly organizing your desk, deep cleaning your entire room, or scrolling through endless short-form videos, precisely when you have a massive, life-changing deadline looming over your head? Most people believe that putting things off means you are just lazy, undisciplined, or naturally disorganized. They think it is a character flaw, a sign that you simply don't care enough about your future. But psychology tells a completely different story. If you constantly find yourself waiting until the last possible minute to start a project, study for an exam, or even reply to an important email, I want you to listen very closely. It isn't about bad time management. It isn't about a weak personality. It isn't even about a lack of intelligence or motivation. The real answer lies much deeper. In the hidden mechanics of your nervous system, the way your brain processes the world, and how your mind secretly tries to protect you from pain. Today, we are going to explore the true psychology behind procrastination. We are going to strip away the guilt, the shame, and the bad advice you've been given your whole life. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this frustrating cycle happens, what it reveals about the inner workings of your mind, and how you can finally break free from it. Before we can fix procrastination, we have to define what it actually is. Procrastination is not simply delaying a task. If you delay doing your laundry because you have to rush to the hospital for an emergency, that is just prioritization. True procrastination is the voluntary and irrational delay of an intended course of action, despite knowing, with absolute certainty, that this delay will leave you worse off. It is the gap between your intentions and your actions. What does this look like in real life? It looks like staring at a blank document for 20 minutes, feeling a rising sense of dread, and suddenly deciding that right now is the perfect time to research how black holes are formed. Who experiences it? Everyone, to some degree. But chronic procrastination affects roughly 20% of the adult population. These are high achievers, creatives, students, and professionals who genuinely want to succeed, but find themselves trapped in an invisible cage of their own making. So, why do we do this to ourselves? If we know that putting a task off will cause us immense stress tomorrow, why do we do it today? The psychological reason is going to surprise you. Procrastination is not a time management problem. It is an emotion regulation problem. When you procrastinate, you are not avoiding the task itself. You are avoiding the negative emotions associated with the task. Think about your childhood experiences or emotional conditioning. Perhaps you grew up in an environment where mistakes were heavily punished. As a result, your brain learned to associate producing work with the terrifying risk of failure. When you sit down to work, you aren't just facing a spreadsheet or an essay. You are facing boredom, frustration, self-doubt, anxiety, or crippling perfectionism. Your brain looks at the task and says, "This makes me feel insecure. This makes me feel stupid. I need to get away from this feeling right now." Procrastination is simply a coping mechanism. It is your mind's misguided attempt to make you feel better in the present moment, completely sacrificing your future well-being in the process. To truly understand this, we have to look under the hood and see what your brain and nervous system are actually doing when you decide to watch just one more video. Inside your brain, there is a constant battle between two regions, the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the logical, mature CEO of your brain. It handles long-term planning, rational thinking, and goal setting. It is the part of you that says, "I need to finish this project today so I can relax this weekend." But then there is the amygdala. This is one of the oldest parts of your brain. It is your threat detection center, designed by evolution to keep you safe from physical danger. When you think about a difficult task, especially one that triggers a fear of failure or anxiety, your amygdala perceives that negative emotion as a literal, physical threat. It doesn't know the difference between a hungry lion and a scary tax return. It just senses danger. When this happens, an amygdala hijack occurs. Your brain floods your body with cortisol, the stress hormone, triggering a mild fight-or-flight response. Your prefrontal cortex is temporarily shut down. To soothe this sudden spike of stress, your brain desperately seeks an immediate reward. It demands a hit of dopamine to numb the anxiety. So, what do? You open social media. You grab a sugary snack. You play a video game. The dopamine hits. The amygdala calms down. You feel better for about 5 minutes. but you have just trained your nervous system to believe that avoiding work is the best way to survive. This isn't just a theory. The science backs this up completely. According to pioneering psychologists like Dr. Tim Peichel from Carleton University and Dr. Fuchsia Siroe from the University of Sheffield, chronic procrastination is definitively linked to our inability to manage negative moods around certain tasks. In fact, a fascinating brain imaging study published in the journal Psychological Science found that people who chronically procrastinate actually have a larger amygdala than those who do not. Because their threat detection center is physically larger, they are more sensitive to the negative emotions surrounding a challenging task. The researchers found that the neural connections between the amygdala and the logical prefrontal cortex were weaker in procrastinators. Their brains are literally hardwired to prioritize immediate emotional relief over long-term logical goals. Don't let that discourage you, though. Thanks to neuroplasticity, this wiring can be changed. But first, you have to recognize the pattern. Let's look at how this plays out in the real world. Imagine someone named Alex. Alex has a massive presentation due on Friday for his career. It is Monday morning. He sits down at his desk, opens his laptop, and brings up a blank presentation slide. Instantly, a subconscious thought enters his mind. What if this isn't good enough? What if my boss hates it? I don't even know where to start. A wave of subtle, uncomfortable anxiety washes over him. His amygdala sounds the alarm. Without even realizing he's making a choice, Alex thinks, let me just clear my email inbox first. That will make me feel productive. He answers emails for an hour. Then he decides to organize his desktop folders. Then he goes to the kitchen to make a complicated lunch. He is doing work, but he is completely avoiding the real work. By 5 p.m., the presentation is still blank. Alex feels a crushing weight of guilt and shame, promising himself he will go hard tomorrow. This is the psychology of procrastination in action, short-term emotional relief, paid for with long-term suffering. This is exactly why mainstream productivity advice completely fails. Most people think the cure for procrastination is a better planner, a new time-blocking app, or a strict morning routine. They think they just need more discipline, telling themselves to just do it. But that's not what's actually happening. You cannot solve an emotional regulation problem with a time management tool. If the root cause of your delay is a deep-seated fear of failure, color-coding your calendar is not going to help you. Worse yet, society tells us that we should punish ourselves for procrastinating. We call ourselves lazy, stupid, or useless. But neuropsychology shows us that this harsh self-criticism actually increases anxiety. And since anxiety is the very thing that triggers procrastination in the first place, beating yourself up just guarantees you will procrastinate again tomorrow. If this behavior continues unchecked, the hidden consequences extend far beyond a few missed deadlines. Emotionally, you live in a constant state of low-grade anxiety. Because of a psychological phenomenon called the Zeigarnik effect, uncompleted tasks constantly loop in the back of your mind, draining your mental energy even when you are trying to relax. You never truly get to enjoy your free time. Relationally, it creates friction. People begin to see you as unreliable. Biologically, your habit of delaying creates chronic stress, keeping cortisol levels perpetually high, which destroys your sleep, your immune system, and your overall mental health. But the most devastating consequence is what it does to your identity. Over time, you lose trust in yourself. You start to believe your own broken promises. You begin to identify as a lazy person, permanently lowering your potential and accepting a life that is far smaller than what you are capable of. So, how do we fix it? If we can't just force ourselves to be disciplined, what is the psychological cure? Here are 4 simple, actionable steps to rewire your brain and bypass the amygdala hijack. Step 1. Practice radical self-forgiveness. Research proves that students who forgive themselves for procrastinating before an exam are significantly less likely to procrastinate on the next exam. Forgiveness reduces the negative emotion attached to the task, removing the trigger for the amygdala. Tell yourself, I messed up yesterday, but that is in the past. Today is a clean slate. Step 2. Name the emotion. Before you run away from a task, pause. Ask yourself, what exact emotion am I feeling right now? Is it boredom? Fear? Confusion? The simple act of labeling an emotion activates your logical prefrontal cortex, calming down your threat response. Step 3. The 5-minute bargain. Don't focus on finishing the project. Your brain finds that terrifying. Instead, make a bargain with yourself. I am going to open the document and work on it for exactly 5 minutes. If I want to quit after that, I will. By lowering the barrier to entry, you bypass the fear. Once you start, momentum usually takes over. Step 4. Focus on the immediate next action. Don't put write essay on your to-do list. That is too vague and scary. Write, open laptop, open Microsoft Word, type the title. Break the task down into steps so small that they require zero emotional energy to complete. Here is where the true transformation happens. The goal isn't to stop overthinking. The goal isn't to become a flawless, robotic productivity machine who never delays a task again. The goal is to become the kind of person who trusts their own mind. The goal is to become someone who can feel uncomfortable emotions, like anxiety, boredom, or the fear of failure, and sit with them, rather than running away to the nearest distraction. When you change how you handle your emotions, you change how you handle your life. You stop identifying as a procrastinator and start identifying as someone who embraces discomfort for the sake of their future self. I want to issue you a challenge. For the next 7 days, I do not want you to focus on being a productivity master. Instead, pay close attention to the exact moment you feel the urge to pull away from your work. When you reach for your phone or open a new browser tab, just stop for 3 seconds. Try this simple habit: breathe and silently name the feeling. Just say to yourself, I am feeling anxious right now because this task is hard, and that's okay. Just observe the psychology of your own brain. Awareness is the first key to breaking the chain. Your habits aren't random. Your emotions aren't random. Your brain is always trying to protect you, sometimes in ways that no longer serve you. Procrastination is just a misguided bodyguard. Once you learn to thank it for trying to keep you safe and show it that you are capable of handling the discomfort, the invisible cage disappears. Have you ever experienced this endless cycle of delaying and feeling guilty? What is the one task you are avoiding right now? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to read your experiences. If you enjoyed this video and want to understand the hidden psychology behind everyday life, you know what to do. There's always more to discover.